again, Salaki, I got cut off, but just to reiterate the point that I was making, all of these companies are connected at the top. All right. So the asset management, developmental engineers for AI infrastructure, or just data centers in general. All of these CEOs are tied in at the top because they all are in cahoots with each other to fulfill a specific agenda. Okay. And again, like I said, I forgot what Blackstone specializes in or what their services are primarily, but I do know that they are heavily connected to the development of this newfound technology, right? So it says you want to be thinking about this in almost everything you're doing now. Gray told the WSJ Invest Live event in West Palm Beach, Florida. Blackstone manages assets worth 1.27 trillion spanning from sectors of the economy across the world. Some of its portfolio, including sandwich shops and apartment complexes, are less at risk, Gray said, but other businesses face much more serious questions, he added, citing an insurance firm lowering rates for customers using self-driving cars. And this is very important because essentially what AI is going to do is that if we have all these self-sufficient technologies that are handling all of the things that we need to do or that a human does primarily by his own labor, like truck driving, taxi driving, even driving itself, or even cooking, restaurants. If we have AI that's literally 3D printing meat and then also cooking it and doing all of the excess things that need to be done that a human actually does, and we have technology to take place of this is going to disrupt the economic system entirely. All right. And Esau, and this is what Esau's master plan is that we don't do anything and technology does everything for us. All right. But the globalists and the individuals who are at the top of this, say the elitists more so than anything, their plans is that they benefit from it and we don't. They want us to be at the very bottom. And again, what this is going to do is it's going to destroy the middle class. And when the middle class is destroyed and there's just rich and poor, it's easier for things to happen, or it's easier for Esau to institute his enterprise in the midst of that. Now, the middle class it's at its dying age. But at the end of the day, it's not fully here yet. And the reason why we know it's not fully here yet is because certain things have not been fulfilled. And on top of that, the dollar has to collapse. There's a lot of things that have to happen in order for the middle class to be completely diminished, right? So it says you start to say, well, what does that mean for collision repair? What does that mean for auto insurance? What's going to happen to all sorts of rules-based businesses, he said. See, so then you start the institution of AI is essentially reforming practically everything. Because if you have a self-driving car, this thing is so smart that it's not a human. It knows, okay, watch out for this, watch out for that, stop here, stop there. And it's doing all these things. It decreases the risk of, quote unquote, decreases the risk of accidents, right? So therefore, you don't really need or you don't need car insurance, right? And furthermore, you don't necessarily need, a collision repair as much as you would, So anyhow, it says along with other large private capital firms, Blackstone has invested heavily in infrastructure around AI. See? So Blackstone, amongst other companies like Palantir, and even Amazon Web Services, which they're doing their own thing, but the fact of the matter is that a lot of these assets are privately owned, and America wants to be at the top of this infrastructure. America doesn't want to be in a position to where it's housing, it's having to go outsource for these resources for AI infrastructure to be built up. The fucked up thing is America doesn't have enough industrial capital, or it doesn't have enough industrial infrastructure for them to produce all of what they need regarding AI infrastructure, because the development of these chips, of these PSUs, of these of these ultra computers and these the power grid, all of it, the production of it is not going to be sourced in America. And it cannot be sourced in America because America doesn't have the resources. So where the fuck are they going? They're going to have to make allegiance with other companies or other countries in order for them to gain access to these things. But then again, you doing that is still putting you in a position of compromise because now you're letting these other countries know, which America's supposed to be this great big bad wolf, right? But now you're letting these other countries know that you're in a lack of these resources and you're trying to get to the top, which, you know, essentially gives away your hand. So it's a lot of complications that come with the development of AI. And on top of that, America's still at the bottom of it because, these Eastern continental countries, these Eastern continents are living a whole different life than we are. The iPhone 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and so on and so forth always starts in the East and then comes on the West. The very phone that you're using is outsourced from China. Everything that we have is outsourced from China. It's very rare that there's something that's American made. And again, even when it is American made, the quality of it isn't as stable and sturdy as something that's outsourced from China. Okay? From the motherfuckers who actually invented it. Anyhow, you know, there's a lot more on that which we can go into, but I did want to bring this out also, which it says U.S. leads record global surge in gas-fired power driven by AI demands with big costs for the climate, right? So the U.S. is leading a huge global surge in new gas-fired power generation that will cause a major leap in the planet heating emissions, right? It's a lot. With this record boom driven by the expansion of energy-hungry data centers to service artificial intelligence, like I said, because the infrastructure, and I know I'm using infrastructure a lot, but really there's no other term to define it. Or you could say the environment or the climate, but those words don't necessarily define what I'm specifically saying. But a data center itself, and primarily an artificial intelligence data center. And when I say that, I mean the actual devices and all the intricacies of what comes behind powering up a system that is AI capable takes a lot of computation. For you to go on a website, type up any random fucking question, and that question to be administer answers within a snap of a finger. It takes a lot of computation for this system to go through all of the internet and draw out this information. Now, again, there are some biases to AI infrastructure or AI technology, but at the end of the day, it's still, it's still takes a lot of computation. And I'll say this too, the AI that's accessible to the average American isn't the AI that's accessible to the elites, and that's accessible to the government, and that's accessible to the individuals who actually own all of this information. All right, because they use AI on a different level and on a different scale. All right, now it says, according to the new forecast, this year is set to shatter the annual record for gas power additions around the world, with projects in development expected to grow existing global gas capacity by nearly 50%, a report by Global Energy Monitor GEM found, right? Which is freaking insane. And again, like Esau is literally destroying, this all goes into Esau destroying the earth, because now what's happening is there's more air pollution, all right, there's more heat emitted on the earth, which again, all of this, all of the infrastructure that's wrapped around AI, it's actually very detrimental to the community itself, detrimental to the environment itself, because not only does, this high computation take a lot of power and resources, but it's also what the fuck it emits. What's emitting is radiation. It's if it's essentially like take 20. I'll put it in perspective like this, right? Take 250 iPhone 17s and put them all on a fast charging charger and hold all of them in your hand at the same time. You're gonna feel radiation emit from it. You're gonna feel a high amount of. You can actually get radiation poisoning if you did that. Just imagine that times 20 or I say times 50 for a whole data center, and you having to walk and work and fix the what's it called? Having to fix the actual physical gear. All right. And that's part of the reason why, there's gonna sooner than later, there's gonna have to come some regulations to the infrastructure and also working within that infrastructure. And I know there's probably going to have to, because I know for a fact, it's obvious that if you have an AI data center, somebody's going to die from that shit. Somebody's going to die from being around that, from having so much radiation emitted from one place and working in that for years and years and years. It says the U.S. is at the forefront of the global push for gas that is set to escalate over the next 5 years after tripling its planned gas-fire capacity in 2025. Much of this new capacity will be devoted to the vast electricity needs of AI, with a third of the 252 gigawatts of gas power in development set to be situated on sites at data centers, right? And I'm not sure, what the specific amps that are, or gigawatts and what have you, that are needed to sustain this level of technology. But I know a regular data center that takes just regular servers that have a decent level computation. It takes not even nearly half of what's being used in this specific instance. Okay. Now, we can actually look this up on ChatGPT too. Let's actually go there real quick. ChatGPT. How much gigawatts does a standard data center need to function and how much does an AI data center need? Compare and contrast. Let's see what AI says. It says, quick note first, because this topic gets confusing fast. Power is measured by watts, right? Watts, megawatts, and gigawatts. Not gigs watts, but gigawatts, right? It says people usually mean gigawatts when they mean GW, right? I'll stick to that and give clean comparisons, right? So it says standard non-AI data centers, small enterprise data centers, 1 to 5 megawatts. Large hyperscale data centers take 20 to 100 megawatts, like Google, AWS, and Microsoft. And that's another data center too. Google and Microsoft, which Google and Microsoft are essentially brother companies. Very large campuses, multiple buildings, right? 100 to 300 megawatts. It says what's using the power: CPUs running web apps, databases, emails, and storage, right? Cooling. So within every data center, you need cooling because it's a lot. Because these data centers, the computer, it's just like your phone. I say a regular computer, a desktop computer. There's a reason why after a certain while you will hear something go like, because it's the fan cooling down. It's the fan basically cooling down the system, right? So let's see. So single AI training cluster, 20 to 50 megawatts, right? So opposed to 5 to 10 megawatts for the small one, you got 20 to 50. Large AI data centers, 100 to 500 megawatts. Now look, 20 to 10 megawatts. So do you see the difference? 500 megawatts to 1 gigawatt, which is insane. Yes, some AI data centers now approach the power usage of a small city. So just imagine a small city in one building. That's how much computation is needed. Or that's how much power is needed for the computations that come from a data center, an AI data center. Now, this is important because all this is being used. And think about this. The big picture behind all of this is that Esau wants to utilize this infrastructure all for him to keep tabs on you. And think about this. This is how special the elect is. All of this is being set up just so that Esau could try to somehow, some way upset prophecy, kill the elect, and take our birthright. And be a lord over this whole entire world. Let me go back to 1 Thessalonians, Salakia. And I'm going to end this video on that. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, shewing himself that he is God. And this is essentially the way that he's going to profess and proclaim that he is God, through these AI data centers and having mega tons and mega gigs, and now we can say gigs, not gigawatts, mega gigs, and terabytes of information regarding the whole entire world and regarding primarily the children of Israel, because that's truly who he wants to have all this information and intel on. Okay. Remember that. Time we reveal, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And it's soon Esau Edom is going to be taken out of the way. But really, that's the main point regarding all of this. I pray that you were edified through this epistle. Salaki, I gotta kind of cut this short. So I'm in a rush to get somewhere. But nevertheless, I pray that you were edified through this epistle and that this was edifying. And definitely keep out for all updates regarding this, because this does play a major factor within our salvation. The more that they're building up this infrastructure, the more it's helping us get to where we need to go, which is the hell up out of here. All right. And although Esau is going to build up all these mega computers and keep us super duper surveilled, it doesn't necessarily matter. He's not going to be able to do anything that the Lord doesn't allow him to do, number one. And number two, that's going to upset prophecy. Just as long as we're moving closer toward the kingdom of heaven, I say, hey, go fucking knock yourself the hell out, man. So with that, I give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Shai, Bashem Kokadash, and Yakabaka, whatever cause, calling number, Shalom, Barak, Until next time, I can say Shalom.